Just making a quick vid of a little project I played around with using a Bluepill STM32f103 board here. What I've done is I've created two pulse width trains here. I've made them using timers, and I have essentially it's two timers triggering off a pulse width wave, and the pulse width is changing. The duty cycle is getting wider and shorter, and the two outputs are slightly detuned. So the scope here is able to sync one signal, and the other signal is kind of running across a little bit because it's out of sync a little bit compared to this one. You can see the frequency down here when things change for the frequency. Anyway, what I'll go ahead and do is turn the volume up. And what I've done is I've got a little wire right here for a headphone jack. Basically, is a headphone jack plugged into the board here with the wires jump to the GPIO pins, and I'm running straight from the GPIO pin. It's 3.3 volts on and off, going to the headphone jack, and then it's picking it up and running up to a stereo. Stereos up here. I got speakers up there. I'm in my basement here, my little man cave workshop, and so anyway, it's making sound. And what I've done is I just made it vary the duty cycle, and it's they're slightly detuned from each other, and this is what it sounds like. And you can kind of hear that throbbing sound when the detune and the duty cycle kind of fade in and out. And here's changing the frequency, which I can do with this knob right here. And that's hitting the reset on the microcontroller, and then when I release it, it starts back up again. Anyway, that's just a quick demonstration of this tiny little $2 microcontroller, Raising Cane. I mean, this sounds like a science fiction sound effect going on in here, but it's really cool. Unfortunately, what I did was using timers, and changing the pulse width and the frequency on this is not really the best way to make a synthesizer, but it does kind of get me started in tinkering around with the idea to do so. To do that, I'm gonna have to mess with something more like this guy right here. It's got a built-in 12-bit DAC on it, and this thing's only about 10 bucks from China, and I like it. It's cool. It's a STM32f103c8t6. Has about 512 megabytes of RAM, and it's got the 12-bit DACs on it, 2 of them, and so it's fast. It has the built-in DACs. This thing does not have any DACs. I would have to come up with a way to use I2S format and send it to an external DAC, which I do have one to play around with if I want to, but why go to all that when I can do it using this with a built-in DAC of 12 bits. But hey man, 12 bits it's not bad, especially if you're just messing around with some simple waveforms. But this thing's cool, man. I mean, it's got a socket to put in Wi-Fi. It's got a USB port here. It has a SD card you can read from over here. You can put a battery in for the real-time clock. It's a really nice board. I think this is the best bang for the buck. For $10, you get a lot of microcontroller power. Anyway, I'll leave you with that, and just thought I'd share.